Hello, welcome to this information session on the graduate diplomas in Canadian and Comparative Common Law that are offered at the Faculty of Law of the University of Montreal. My name is Catherine Recker. I am the International Affairs Advisor, and I'll walk you through these programs. So firstly, I'll share a bit of information about the University of Montreal in general and the Faculty of Law. And then you'll have more detailed information on the Specialized Graduate Diploma in Canadian Law, as well as in the LLM in Comparative Common Law. So firstly, Montreal has been ranked the #1 student city in America by the QS survey of best student cities. So we're very proud to bear the name of our city, the University of Montreal. You see here the beautiful skyline. There's the old Montreal, historic quarters, European charm. And behind the skyline is beautiful Mount Royal. And our campus is located just across the hill. You can spot here the tower, which is the emblem of the University of Montreal. So Montreal is celebrated for its dynamic cultural scene, world-renowned festivals. There's always something happening in Montreal 12 months per year, so never a dull moment. It is a multicultural city with a bilingual environment where French and English coexist, but where you'll also hear numerous other languages. Montreal is known to be very friendly, diverse. There's a laid back, inclusive atmosphere, and is also known to be a safe city where public transportation is great to travel from one neighborhood to another safely. And finally, it is also known to be very affordable with a very reasonable cost of living when you compare it to other major cities in the country or across the world. So here we are, just on Mount Royal. So we have a beautiful green campus atop the city. The University of Montreal counts 13 faculties and schools that are clustered around our famous tower, which is the Roger-Gaudry Hall. We count 45,000 students, including 10,000 international students. And when you include our affiliated schools, our business school and our engineering school, we reach 69,000 students. We have a very vibrant student life at the University of Montreal and numerous student services that cater to particular needs. For example, we have the SEMSM, which is one of the largest sports centers in Canada. We have an on-site medical clinic with doctors, nurses, psychologists, etc. We have on-campus residences. We have numerous cultural activities and clubs that students can join, as well as dedicated student support centers. So if students need support managing their finances or orientation career-wise, we have services for that. Students with disabilities, etc. And within the faculty, we also have a dedicated student success advisor. And this is with the objective that the students experience, that students can make the most out of their experience at the university, both academically and personally. Now, a few facts about the Faculty of Law. We will be celebrating soon our 150th anniversary. So we have a long history of teaching law in Canada in a particular environment, whereas we are teaching law in a bijural jurisdiction. So we combine the civil law and French tradition for private law, but we also teach and research law in common law. That way, our students get a bijural education. This means that our law school is a bridge between the two main legal Western traditions. We also have over 50 professors that come from diverse legal and cultural backgrounds. A fair number of them have been educated at the graduate studies, master's or PhD outside of Quebec, maybe Ontario, the United States, continental Europe, the UK, or elsewhere around the globe. So this makes for a very rich environment and intellectual stimulating environment. We have every year over 375 new undergraduate students that join the faculty, and the majority of which being female students. And at the graduate level, we have over 1,000 students who are enrolled in our different graduate programs. So in addition to the teaching in both the civil and common law, the Faculty of Law is also renowned for research. We have leading research centers in public law, in AI, health law, and also current issues surrounding law and technology and innovation. We also have a research center on business law, international trade, both from a domestic and international perspective. So we have we are leading research in that sector as well. And we also have a number of research units and hubs that make for a vibrant learning environment for both undergraduate students or graduate students. And in that line, our professors publish regularly cutting edge books and classical doctrinal work in both French and English, making us a leading institution in research in Canada and outside of the country. Now, moving on to the heart of the presentation. So firstly, the Specialized Graduate Diploma in Canadian Law. Now, this program is for students who already hold a common law degree and who are seeking to undertake a bar admission program in a Canadian province or territory outside of Quebec. So the courses in this program are specifically designed to meet the requirements set out by the National Committee on Accreditation of the Federation of Law Societies of Canada. That being said, an individual application must be made to the NCA prior to starting the program. So the application to the NCA will provide an assessment of your education, and the NCA will assign requirements that need to be completed in order for you to have the knowledge of Canadian law similar to that of someone who has studied law in Canada in a recognized institution. A few words about the program content. So this program is aimed to provide, like I mentioned before, the training that NCA requires, and thus it focuses mainly on Canadian public common law, because the private common law courses are recognized by the NCA. So the program is set up so that students are well equipped to learn about Canadian public law. So we have 30 credits, which are 10 courses of 3 credits each. So firstly, the legal research and drafting seminar, in order to make sure that students are well acquainted with the legal research tools and approaches in the Canadian environment. Ethics and professionalism is a mandatory course required by the NCA. Now, towards a more comparative perspective, is the Quebec's civil law system course. So, this will provide a comparative aspect, given that as a practicing lawyer in Canada, you may from time to time have the occasion to interact with Canadian cases and lawyers. So, this will provide the relevant background. We have the course Foundations of Canadian and Indigenous Law. So, this is to provide the basics of the Canadian reality regarding the fundamental institutions of the Canadian legal system. Following with Canadian Constitutional Law 1 and 2, which will provide in-depth analysis of the constitutional institutions, including the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedom. Canadian Criminal Law 1 and 2, so two courses, that one being more targeted on substantive criminal law, and the other more on procedural and evidence in criminal law. And this overlaps with the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedom that protects basic constitutional rights in such a setting. Canadian administrative law will provide knowledge on the various institutions that make the government work, be it for social services, economic regulation, and so on. And finally, the last course that composes this program is an elective course. So students have the opportunity to choose a choice of that might interest them within the Faculty of Law or outside. And this may include a French language course in order to improve language proficiency. So the University of Montreal, although it is mainly French, we offer this program in English, and all courses are in English. The program is set up to be completed if you're studying full-time in 2 terms. So the fall term from September to December, the winter term from January to April. Tuition is of approximately 14,000 Canadian dollars for the 2 terms, and this being a price for the Canadian citizens who are not residents of Quebec. Here you find the links for more detailed information about the program and also for the admission process. It's important to note that the application deadline is February 1st. Now, moving on to the Master of Laws in Comparative Common Law. So this program caters to both Canadian and international jurists who are interested in Canadian law, but who do not necessarily hold a common law degree. So the objectives are to deepen knowledge of the common law tradition in a stimulating environment, combining both theory and practice, and also to develop the ability to design and implement a research project in a specific field through the writing of an essay. So there is a research component to this program. Most courses are, once again, specifically designed to meet the requirements set out by the National Committee on Accreditation, the NCA, and of course, an individual application must be made to the NCA prior to starting the program. So it is an independent program, but as I'll explain, this can build on the graduate diploma in Canadian law because it is a 45 credit program. So 36 of the credits are optional and are chosen from a predetermined list of courses, so the equivalent of 12 courses. And in addition, for the research component, students have to dedicate 9 credits to a mandatory research paper. So the courses of the Specialized Graduate Diploma in Canadian law can be automatically transferred to the LLM program. Students are able to choose within the courses of the Specialized Graduate Diploma or a bigger list of courses. So once again, it's a program in English, 3 terms full-time from September to August. So students can start with the graduate diploma that they end in April, and with an extra summer term, have an LLM. The tuition is of approximately 21,000 Canadian dollars for the 3 terms for, once again, the Canadian citizens who are not residents of Quebec. You'll find below here the links, once again, for more detailed information, and application is February 1st. So here we are. So we have a very exciting offer for students who are interested in Canadian and common law and who may be looking for a pathway to meet the NCA requirements and eventually be called to the bar of a province outside Quebec, and thus to obtain the qualifications to practice law in Canada. Should you have any questions, you have a few reference links here. Do not hesitate to get in touch with our team. We have a very dedicated team, and it will be a pleasure to provide further information, may it be for these programs or for other programs at the Faculty of Law. I thank you for your attention, and I wish you a very lovely day.